it. You ready? I'm just going to start.
Yeah, just start.
I call this the monthly wrap-up show. And then Ryan always inserts a little jingle at this moment. So you can dance if you want. Go. Absolutely buzzing. This happened just by miracle, and I'm telling you, this was a miracle. I've got Sam King, the legend, on the monthly wrap-up show today, whose brains I'm going to be absolutely picking, because this is what happened. Let's reverse. So I said on the monthly wrap-up show, I want to talk to people who have done something similar to me so I can get so many tips and steal from them their brains. And then on Friday just gone, we were with some really good friends and we met, even though we kind of knew each other, we met, had a glass of wine, and I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, what are you doing on Wednesday? You were like, I can be free, and now he's here.
And here we are.
And how does it feel?
Yeah, it's great. Lovely studio.
Great
the Essex
studio.
contingent.
In it?
Yeah.
That's what I was very happy about. I was like, he's from Essex, I'm from Essex, we both like running, this is going to work. So I said, please will you come on my show, because I know exactly what you've been up to and what you've been doing, and I want to hear all about it. And then he said, yeah, and now we're here. But can you tell us exactly what you did and why I would want to pick your brains? Why would someone like me want to pick your brains, Sam?
Yeah, I know. We had to resist on Friday night. Let's not talk about anything.
Yeah.
And we were like, and
like,
stop.
Save it for the
We'll
show.
save it for Wednesday, and here
also,
we are.
I've got one nail missing.
Don't put your hand down there.
I know.
Before everyone can see it.
Don't go out in public. But do you know what? It's my pointy finger. So it's like...
Oh, well, there's no hiding it then. Yes. So last year, I very unfortunately was at home with my mum when she got really ill and collapsed in my arms with a bleed on her brain. And basically that threw everything in my life into perspective. I was working a corporate job in London, but I've always been a big runner and I've always wanted to do a big running challenge, never really known what to do or what to do it for. But that whole event sort of threw my life into perspective, and I quit my job halfway through the year, and at the end of last year ran 74 ultramarathons in 74 days. So that's one for every year of my mum's life before she fell ill earlier last year, and to raise money for the brain injury charity that supported us through everything that we went through last year as a family. So that was my challenge. And then because it was finishing on a Tuesday, I decided to move the finish date to the weekend so that I could finish outside my mum's church with her there. So I actually did 80 ultramarathons in 80 days.
Wow.
And raised the money I set out to raise for the charity in the process, broke a world record in the process. And of course, with everything that you've got coming up, there's probably some, things that we can discuss and crossover.
Help.
Because I did manage to do it despite lots of challenges.
Unbelievable. And the thing is, I want to completely unpack all of these challenges, which actually isn't just the running, and we'll go into that. But first, let's reverse, because I want to do this in order. So a normal day, you were at home and your mum just got ill in front of you.
Yeah, very healthy woman. Like, she was in her mid-70s, so reasonably old, but very healthy. Would count her steps every day and send me a message saying I've hit my 12,000 step goal. So like, she was healthy and active and very sociable, never been ill. And yeah, fortunately I was at home because she would have been home alone and potentially wouldn't have survived if I wasn't there. But also, unfortunately, I sort of had to deal with that. And like, my mum is like really close with my mum, like best friend in the world, always has been. So yeah, that was the worst day of my life. When we got to the hospital, we were told that she wasn't going to make it, and I spent 24 hours in a side room in A&E. Waiting for her to take her last breath. And you go through lots of thoughts when you're in a situation like that. And the next sort of 4 or 5 months, I tried to manage everything in my life. So I tried to keep up my London city job that I had, tried to keep up visiting mum almost every day at the hospital, and I was training for different ultramarathons and races that I had that year, and it all just became too much. It took about 3 or 4 months from the bleed in the brain to me to quit my job. It just sort of came to me maybe around May time last year that's what I was going to do. I just had a brainwave. I was like, what are you doing? Quit your job. You don't love it. Go home, spend time with your mum, and do this running challenge that you've sort of always wanted to do in honour of her and for charity. And all of that came together incredibly powerfully, and the challenge was, it was amazing.
And this is the thing, when you say, you know, you put things into perspective, can you explain that even further to us? Because, you know, like we say, oh, everything got put into perspective, so I quit my job. Like, what do you mean by that? What's the depth of perspective for you that you went through in that 24 hours in A&E? And
yeah, I think, to be honest, it's a shame that often it's due to tragedies and bad things happening to people, for then people to actually act upon it and do something with their life that they've always wanted to do. I wish more people would just take the lead and take risks and go out and do the things they love, and, you know, not be comfortable in society or whatever they've sort of found themselves in. But that is exactly what I was doing. But the thing is, I always knew at the back of my mind I wasn't where I was meant to be. You know, when like you wake up in the morning, and even when I had my corporate job, there was never a day where I woke up and thought to myself, this is what I should be doing. So although I say things, it put things into perspective, it actually, that's not true. I knew what I wanted to do. I was putting it off, and it forced me down the route that I knew that I wanted to go down. But it was due to sort of the tragedy of it all and all of that, which I do find sad. And actually, I'd read a book a few years before. It was Nick Butter, actually, who was the guy that ran a marathon in every country in the world. And he's sort of opening into the introduction was like, don't wait for a diagnosis. Like, don't wait in life to do the things you really want to do, because you'll never do them. And I remember thinking, that won't be me. And here I am. I did all of that when something bad happened to me. So I think it is a shame that happens. Everyone has these things that they want to do, and hopefully things that we're doing can inspire people to go out and do them, and not to wait for something bad to happen to trigger it. Yeah,
that's what it is though as well, because people like us, the reason we're doing what we're doing every day is because we're saying, we are Nick Butter in that situation to you. Don't wait for that day to happen. I mean, for me, when I got paralysed and I had to learn to walk again, the reason I say to people, move, is because I know how it feels to be paralysed. Like, I literally know how it feels to lay there and be like, I might not ever walk again. Like, this might be it. And I was 18 years old. Like, that's a long time to not walk again if I'd have lived to the average age. And it sounds weird, and I think you'll agree with this. You almost want everyone to go through something.
Yeah.
Because if that's what it takes to go do the things you're meant to do, or move, or, you know, follow your dreams and stuff like that, you want people to feel it. But I always say to people, like, I've done the hard bit. Like, I got paralysed and went through the pain and everything. Just trust me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want. We want people to trust us, don't we? Like, suppose when you read that book and you said, oh, it won't be me. Like, how do we change people from being what we were, it won't be me, to it could be me, it might be, you know, all of that bit.
Yeah, hardships can often prepare people for an extraordinary destiny. There's a quote or something like that where it's so true. Like, some of the worst things that have happened to me have been the best things that have happened to me. And like you were saying, with like the incredible journey that you've been on, I left school obese. I was like addicted to computer games. I was eating really unhealthily. And I know that the effect that can have on people as human beings. So like the route that I've now gone down, living a healthier lifestyle and running, obviously some people might argue you're running too much and maybe it's a bit unhealthy, but I can tell you now, I know how I feel on a daily basis when I wake up, and how clear my mind is, how good my relationships are with my friends and family and all of that, how much better it is to live a life in a healthy way, and that's active and that's outdoors and that's not necessarily confined to the indoors or your phone that a lot of people now go through. So yeah, like when I was younger, I left school obese, and now a bit like you, trying to get everyone active. I would love to be part of the reason that those numbers come down in schools now. I think 1 in 5 children leave school obese.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that the sort of journey that I've been on is going to be relatable. And yeah, I'm hoping to do stuff like you in communities and in schools to try and inspire people to get outdoors and be a bit more active and not go down the wrong path.
For sure. And I think what's really interesting about this is, like, you took that kind of physical route where you say you were obese and you felt it from a physical point of view, which obviously affected your mental health and things like that. But, you know, the root cause, you say, was you were obese. And then when I look at when I got paralysed and I couldn't move anymore, my hit was my mental health, right? So I had recently I was talking to someone and I was like, do you know what? I got depressed after I got paralysed, but I didn't get depressed because I'd been paralysed. I can honestly say that. I can honestly say, like, obviously it had an effect in the sense that it hurt me and I was sad. I can honestly say I was depressed because I couldn't move. And I actually had spent my whole childhood moving, right? So I was the opposite to you, where I danced, I ran, I loved movement. I hadn't had a bad day. I can honestly say, like, I got to 18 years old without feeling flat or depressed or demotivated. I didn't know why. Like, and I didn't understand mental health, but it was just by chance and by luck that because I was moving every day, it was making me feel good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I stopped moving, was paralysed, and it took the best part of a year to move again, that I felt the feeling that you probably were feeling when you were a teenager. Like, we've almost done it a flip way round, right?
I would say I was quite active, and I did love sport. When I grew up. I grew up just before phones and technology came in.
Yeah.
So I was outdoors building dens, climbing trees. I loved sport. I just got to like my mid-teens and was in that gap between, okay, I've been playing sport and hanging out with my friends in this small town that I grew up in Essex for ages, and I'm not quite at like driving license, socialising, going out age. And it was sort of an in-between where I then locked myself inside, got into computer games and put on lots of weight. But yeah, I didn't realise up until then how healthy my life had been. And then I went through that phase and sort of felt and saw the effects of what happens if you become a recluse, you stay inside, you don't have that engagement from people, and massively importantly, no exercise and things like that. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, and unfortunately it's the way that the world's going. I think although like health and fitness is taking off, there's a whole world there as well where it's going the opposite way, and people aren't leaving their houses, and you can work remotely everywhere now, which has got its benefits for sure. But I mean, I think it means that a lot of people are now growing up without all the social skills that they should have, or the engagement with people, or like exercise and access to the outdoors, or reasons to even go outdoors, because they can do everything indoors on their phone. So I think although there's a really great fitness movement happening, there's also this sort of hidden behind the screen stay indoor movement, which I quite like to have an impact on, or trying to inspire those people.
Definitely can see that coming.
Yeah.
And like, it's like you said, I grew up without tech and stuff like that, and you know the effect that we've got to witness it, right? What would you say, like, when you talk about mood, because I think this is a massive one for me, is mood. Like, it doesn't even have to go to the depths of mental health sometimes, like just mood, right? Explain your mood sitting in playing computer games versus your mood going out for a run now. Like, how would you describe the differences?
Well, I think like one of my big things in life now is like really good sleep. And I think that like if you can get outdoors and do some exercise, like and work your body, you're more likely to then stimulate sleep and things like that. And actually, if I get really good sleep, and we'll get into this like in the challenge, like that was one of my big priorities, then I find that I wake up fresh and motivated to then go and do more things. And the more
like the ripple effect
of like, you know, small things that are really important. Sleep isn't a small thing, but you can easily neglect it if you've got the wrong lifestyle choices. So yeah, I think that like the more active I am, the better I am at sleeping, the more conscious I am of the things that matter, like eating well and just relationships and like living your life in the right way. And then the second that you strip that back and you become sort of lazier, that has effects. You'll go to sleep later, you'll eat worse, you'll lose motivation, and it just goes in the wrong direction, and it does affect your mental health. The difference between, you know, getting up and being a little bit active, like I was saying with my mum, she'd get her steps in every day and she'd be so proud of herself, and then that would just sort of lead everything in the right direction when it comes to sort of health and well-being. Whereas if you're indoors and you're behind a screen, you know you're indoors and behind a screen, and it's not good, you know, like subconsciously, and then that has its own ripple effect.
Beating yourself up.
You beat yourself up, even if you don't know it. So I've lived life in both ways, and I know the one that I want to advocate for and try and inspire people to go down, because it can be a very sad and lonely place if you're not active, and if you are living quite an unhealthy life.
Because I do think the whole mood thing, you probably get this as well. It's like, it's only when you are active and then you don't have a day active that you then clock and go, okay, now I was such a prick today. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have this thing in my head now that, like, say I was to open a business and have my own company, I would only employ people, it would be in their contract, like, you have to move before you come to work or have a meeting with me. Like, I have this thing now that the thought of someone making a decision for me about my life, like whether it's a bank manager or like whether it's like someone giving me advice, a therapist, or someone who could have a big consequence on my life in terms of like a brand deal or whatever it is, and they haven't exercised before that meeting, the difference it's going to make, and how, like, I'm like, don't don't come near me if you've not moved, because I know I'm not nice. I know if I haven't gone and exercised and then I've got to go into a meeting that's maybe a little bit like hard going, I'm not going to be great in that meeting. Like, and I think the mood thing is just massive for me, because I'm like, it literally makes you a better person. It doesn't have to be like groundbreaking, just go for a walk.
Yeah. And actually, that's sort of what I was saying about getting into schools and trying to, not even like schools is sort of the end of the road. Like that's a great place to sort of meet people and inspire a small group, but more into like government initiatives to look at how they're encouraging kids in schools, but also people in the workspace, like you mentioned, to run more. And to give and to build it into like the curriculum at schools and into the way that people work. Lots of forward-thinking businesses are now like sort of having run clubs, and like they're getting people out, and they say you can come in late if you're going for a run and things like that, but not enough is being done.
But your business would be way more successful, wouldn't it? Like if everyone was active in your business, like you're going to be well more like it. Also, I also recognise that we can probably come across a bit wanky and annoying sometimes. Like if I was someone listening to us now who's inactive, I'd be like, oh, fucking shut up. And I do get that. Like I actually do understand that, which is why I always try and like get into the mindset of us before when we weren't active, or the mindset of me when I'm not having a good day and I don't want to run, or get into the mindset of someone that I know close to me that just can't get going. And I know it can come across really annoying when we're like, just get out and move.
Yeah, I know. And like it's not running isn't going to save everyone's lives. That's just sort of the thing that I've found makes everything in my life better, and I love it and I want everyone to do it. But obviously that's not the case for everyone. I think it's just important to have something that you like, something that you can make part of your routine, something that you enjoy, that just involves being outdoors. So yeah, it doesn't need to be running. It's definitely worth saying that. But I think it is definitely good to have a reason to move. And I remember sort of listening to a podcast or reading a book about how you can find ways to do that, if you, rather than like sort of having to go out, like going out to a gym session or something like that, for some people is just like they don't want that as part of their routine. Whereas you can build things into your life that just encourage a bit more movement, like walking the stairs rather than taking a lift if you in your office or something like that, or if you get a tube to work, get off a few stops before, and then if you build that into your routine, and it doesn't have a huge effect on your day, and if you start there, and that's a good place, and then you never know, you can build from that, and then you might eventually want to go out and do a 5k, but you can find ways to build it into your routine, like try and go for a run at lunch, take your so all of that I think is you don't have to be running marathons and ultramarathons and things like
and
that
we can be
time.
well annoying. Like
you might do eventually though. You never know where that path's going to lead you.
This is the thing. I love it when people like hate running, then they do their first 5k and then suddenly they run a marathon. And I'm like, sorry, what? You hate running?
Most people
look at you now.
Most people love it eventually.
So obviously, you know, we've kind of gone backwards. It was like your childhood, that obviously sparked something in you where you were like, can't be doing this anymore. And then with what happened with your mum was the like catalyst, I suppose, that was really stuck a rocket up your ass and got you going. Where have we gone from, like, you were running, I'm guessing, and exercising and doing ultras and marathons before your mum got sick?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, like I'd say I've run for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I'd probably done close to 100 marathons or ultras before I did my challenge. And I think that is quite an important point.
P.S. Like, that's amazing. Like, we're like, I've already done 100 marathons. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I even caught myself there.
Considering I was like 19 stone and I never thought I'd run 5k.
Unbelievable.
I'm massively proud to have like turned my life around to that point. And to be honest, even when I say that, I still don't quite believe it. I'm like, I've run that much, have I? Like,
yeah.
You've
got well loads of medals.
Yeah, I do actually. I don't keep
Where'd
them up
you keep
on the
your
wall.
medals?
No, I've got them in a little box at home.
A box?
Like a memorabilia throughout my life, though.
Nice.
I've got things throughout my life, and like I've still got like flight tickets in there from like important holidays that I went on, and all my medals go into that little memorabilia box. So
I'm always like, you know, wondering where people put their medals.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people hang them up and that, and you know,
mine are on a coat hanger in my wardrobe.
Nice.
They hang along.
So when you open it, you're like, oh, yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I feel like they're squished. I've got too many clothes. Need to be vinted.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
So I think it's an important point. Like, ran 80 ultras in 80 days. That didn't just come out of nowhere. Like, and no one can really take on a challenge like that without like years of mental and physical resilience training and stuff like that. And I definitely did have that. So I, ran a marathon, ran 100k quite quickly, and just sort of got the bug for running. But what I fell in love with was multi-day ultra running, and just like the rawness of it. Like, you'd go to random parts of the world, the desert in Jordan, and you wouldn't have any phone signal. You'd be living off basic rations. You'd be with like-minded people, and like that environment became my favorite thing in the world. And I just found that I was quite good at it. Like I'd get to day 4 or 5 of a 250k 5-day ultra, and I'd want the 6th day. I just want to keep going because I was loving it so much. And I'd leave that environment and come back to London, and I'd just be like, wow, I know what I want to do in life now, and it's definitely not this. I want more of that. But I had a seed planted for quite a long time. Like, how many could I run in a row? There was a lady in America, Candice Burt, who ran 200 ultras in 200 days. Incredible woman. And I remember following that at a time when I was really stressed at work and I hated it. And I was like struggling mentally, really stressed. And I remember watching her do her 200 ultras in 200 days and thinking, wow, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love that to be my life. Wake up, run an ultra, have a quiet afternoon, see your friends and family, sleep well, do it again. So, lots of people wouldn't be so inclined, but that is definitely something I saw and watched and was like, I want to do that one day. Already knew I was intrigued about how many I could run, but I wanted a reason to do it as well. And obviously I was comfortable in my job in London. It would have involved the risk of leaving a job and all of that sort of thing, but I did kind of want a reason. I didn't just want to necessarily do it for a personal achievement. So when Mum fell ill and I had the opportunity then to leave my job, go and spend more time with her, and then the idea came to run an ultra for every year of her life in the morning, see her in the afternoon. Was sort of the perfect project. I'm so glad I did it, but it did come from lots and lots of running beforehand, and lots of sort of learning about how I would go about it, and even meeting the right people to help me through the process. Like my coach is Chris Taylor. I know you're working with Chris, who's brilliant. So it did take all those years in the build up of learning, meeting the right people, taking inspiration from other people, lots of reading before I took it on. It wasn't just Mum getting ill and then me running an ultra for every year of her life. But that is sort of the story behind it. And that was October last year. I think I started. No, 27th of September, finished mid-December. So it's been about a month. So this is quite a nice time to have a chat, because I've sort of had a chance to sort of sit and reflect on it, and haven't done a huge amount of like podcasts or things. I did loads during it. But it was a bit intense. Because obviously everything that was going on. But this is quite a nice time to sort of reflect and
look back at it.
Start sharing with you a bit about what I learned. It's a long list, really.
Well, this is great, because I feel like you've set all this up. We know your background. And, the decision to do it and then going out to do it, we know that you didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to go and do it. I think that is really important. And it's something that I always like to highlight, because I don't like it. I don't like it when we see sometimes things on Instagram where people come across like they're like, oh yeah, I just got up and ran like 2:30 marathon today. Like it's like, no, you didn't. You've been training since you were a kid. And I think some people like to leave that part out because it looks more impressive, and I don't think it does. You could easily be like, oh no, I weren't a runner, and then I just did that because it makes you look good, but I don't think it does. Do you know what I mean by that?
No, definitely not.
And I think that's really important, and that's what I really liked about you as well, is we kind of are like twin flames in the kind of multi-stage world, because everything you were saying then, I've heard myself say that to like my mum or like my friends, and be like, I just love a multi-stage, or like when I talk about running, I'm like, I love marathons, stuff like that, but my thing's multi-stage. I love it.
It's the
and
best.
I know exactly what you mean. My last multi-stage was where was I last? Sweden? Was it Sweden? No, Namibia. It was Namibia was my last one. That was 225 over 5 days. But I do remember the one before that was Sweden. That was 6 days, 260. And I do remember for the first time, because that was maybe my 5th multi-stage, I remember for the first time going, I want to run again on day 7.
Nice, okay.
And I woke up that morning and I felt not fine, because I'm not going to be a wanker. Like, I weren't like, it's fine. But I'd paced myself really well on it, and I actually helped my community. I took 12 community members. So it was never about me. Nice. So I was always like coming in with different people and waiting for people or helping and whatever. And so day 7, I was like, I feel like good. Like I'd like to run. And there's that horrible bit where you come home, and it is that you come home and the world looks different. And I'm not being dramatic. I am not being dramatic. The world looks and feels different, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Because you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
The only things you need to do are eat, sleep, and run.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful bubble.
It's amazing. It is basic. And you come back and everyone's like, around you, and you're like, oh my God.
It's very real. Yeah. Like everything about it is real. Like it's just, life is stripped back. And actually, I do think that had the biggest effect on me, especially when it came to then like my corporate job, you know, where actually a lot of it isn't very real. You're sort of speaking to people and there's small talk.
It's just a
and,
game.
And it's a game.
It's like playing a game.
It's definitely like you definitely meet nice people along the way,
Yes.
but a lot of it are like people with ulterior motives and just they're all in it for themselves.
Getting
and just trying
burned
to make money.
and I'm being like, why did I do that?
And the more I went from the multi-day ultra environment to corporate job, to multi-day ultra to corporate job, the more I was put off it and found it difficult to go back
Cracks
there.
were showing.
I got really close friends in my life. Like
Yeah.
my 5 closest friends are from Frinton Primary School.
Yeah.
Like we've known each other our whole lives.
Big up Frinton.
Big up Frinton. Big up Frinton. Big time. And yeah, like I'm really close with them and I've known them my whole life. There's nothing like we know each other inside out. My brothers and sisters I'm really close with. People that I've met in the running community I'm really close with. I just don't, like when I go into work and in a corporate job, the more I spent time with all those people, the less I found it really difficult actually in the end to be in that environment and to not be real. There's definitely some people in that environment that I met that I love and get on really well with, but for the most part
because you were all in it together though. You met and you loved them because you were all feeling probably the same thing in a bad environment, right?
But it
trauma
is,
bonded.
But yeah, trauma bonding for sure. But yeah, like that multi-day environment is as real as it gets and as raw as it gets.
Yeah.
It's so simple and it makes you realise how simple life can be and how simple life really is.
It's amazing. And I always say to people, and I feel so dramatic, especially when I take community members, I say, this is going to change your life. And they're like, oh, and like they think I'm just trying to sell them this trip. I'm like, by the way, I get nothing out of selling you this trip.
Yeah.
I said, this is going to change your life. I'm telling you now. Every time I do one, my life changes. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to do one, my life will change, and I'll go and then it will never change. No. I can honestly say, I can look at, Jordan, Azores, Croatia, I can look at each of those and go, my life changed because of that, or I had an eye opener, or I remember Croatia, before I went to the Croatia one, that was 266 days. I remember I was so flat before I went and I couldn't get out of this funk, like, feeling really depressed, really depressed, having to get a therapist. And I went and I fucking figured it all out. Like it took me hours. I think one day I was out for 17 hours. One day these demons came into my head and it was ugly stuff coming up, things that I remember, all of this. And I remember coming back and my boyfriend said to me, something's different. You seem lighter. I said, I am. Because I sorted it out.
It was just what you needed.
I sorted it all out
like
in the
therapy, really,
mountains.
isn't it?
Yeah. We cried, me and Ez, we cried together. We got angry together. We remembered things that we'd forgotten and we worked through it. And it was ugly because you don't want to, but you're there alone running. And so I am always like, it's going to change your life. But it does.
Yeah,
and I'm
so
glad you agree.
And it's changed mine and it led to Project 74 and obviously now
Exactly.
you're running the UK.
Literally.
And we literally just get to run every day.
I
really
know.
Far. And who knew it? But that's like, a dream come true for me.
Massively. Same as you, all I ever want to do is help people get moving, which is why, with my challenge, probably took on a lot more than I should have. But I'm obviously not just running. I'm then going to go and host these 5K clubs in every single city. My mission is to get 1 million people to run 5K. Yep. So through this running challenge, I want to inspire people to come and meet me at the park and come and do a 5K with me. I'm going to walk sometimes. I'm going to jog sometimes. I'm going to run. I am absolutely buzzing about that pit. Yep. Like I am buzzing about the people that I'm going to meet that might come out that day and go, it might have been young you going, I've sat in gaming all day and because of you I've just come out, got some fresh air and now I love running.
People will remember it forever as well. Like the effect that you'll have on people will be incredible. It's so powerful. Loads of people came out and run with me actually. The most difficult thing about people coming out and run with me,
they're fresh.
Well, they're fresh, which is absolutely lovely. But the one thing I really found difficult was that they would all be like, oh, I've only done a half marathon.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, I hate that because I'm doing 50k a day.
It
that
discounts
all of a sudden
your
I
effort.
think, exactly that. And the hardest conversation I had to have all the time was like, stop.
You're doing good.
Like the fact you're here running with me, you come out to run and support a stranger. That in itself is an incredible thing to do.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're now running with me and you're capable of running, that is all that really matters.
Yeah.
And don't say you've only. I mean, some of them were like, I've only done 2 marathons, and I'm like, what?
Oh, it's this only. It's this only.
You're gonna get a lot of that.
Oh, well, when we
and it's just like, you just want to shake them.
I know, because we do IB for marathon with my community, and there's a marathon, there's a half, and there's a 12k, and when we're out there. Obviously, the community, there was 26 of us out there, so people meet people for the first time and you're chatting and we go out for like a few days, you're getting ready to go and do it. And I overhear them chatting to each other and be like, oh, are you doing the marathon? They were like, only the half. And I go, no, you're not doing only a half, you're doing the half marathon.
Yeah.
And I always pick up on people's language like that. Only the half.
Yeah.
They'll even start the sentence when they haven't even done it yet. They'll go, oh, I'm only doing the half. What do you mean you're only doing the half? You're doing a half marathon.
I know. It is, like, halves and marathons are getting more popular, which is great. But even then, it's still like less than 1% of people on the planet have ever done one. Like, so if I think just getting out and going to parkrun on a Saturday is great.
You're smashing it.
Yeah, exactly. To do more than half marathons, that does take real training and dedication. So it's never taken away
more
from
training,
it.
dedication, running 5k every week than doing one marathon and never moving again. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Consistency is the big key.
Literally. Right, so how do I do it? So I wanted to pick your brains a bit. So I think I'll just tee up my questions, my burning questions. My first question, I want us to look at the whole thing, so the 80 days, in like kind of chunks, okay? So I'm going to do it in like quarters. So like I want you to visualize first quarter, second quarter that took you to halfway, third quarter, and then like that, right? We're going to do it in like chapters. So chapter 1 is your first 20 days. And I'm going to ask you the same questions about each bit, and I just, I'm going to see what comes for you, because you said you haven't really reflected much. I also wanted to do it like this, because if I went to you, what was the worst part? I'm like, are you fucking joking? It's 80 days, it's 80 runs. So I was like, if I do this in sections, you're going to have 4 best parts and 4 worst parts, kind of thing. Section 1 is the first 20 days. You're kicking off, you go in. What do you remember most about that first kind of chapter?
To be fair, the start was a bit daunting because I'd given up so much. Like, I'd quit my job in London and I'd put a lot out. Like, I made it very public what I was doing for my challenge, and I'd invited everyone I know down to the start, which I did in Battersea Park in London. So I do remember, although I'd wanted to do this for my whole life and was super excited about it, I didn't really have an injury history. Before you then start this sort of thing, you're like, well, I have sprained my ankle running before and I haven't been able to run for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And this was always about doing 74 in 74. So like the pressure of you have to get ready and be out there the next day. And all of that did sort of hit me in the week building up to it, where you sort of, the thoughts come in where you're just like, oh shit, like I'm only running around Battersea Park in circles. There's not even a curb to worry about. It's a road. But I was like, but someone might get in my way, and then I might have to go on a curb, and then I might break my ankle, and then it'll all be over.
Rumination station, right?
Yeah, I think like just naturally, you start having those thoughts, and those thoughts creep in. But then you get to it, and it's just like
another run.
It's just another run, and it's just like the most exciting thing ever. I will never ever forget the amount of people that came down to support me. It wasn't a million, but like it was a good number of people.
Yeah.
And the way that they made me feel in doing that, especially the amount of strangers that came down.
Yeah.
And that first couple of days in Battersea Park, it was still summer. Well, it was late September, so the weather was beautiful. And 50, 60 people running around Battersea Park with me at the beginning.
That's
like before I've even
Mate,
gone anywhere.
You said I'm not going to have a million on day one. I'm in Inverness. Like, even if I have a couple, I'm going to be buzzing.
Yeah. A million is definitely bold, but like, I bloody hope that you do get there, and I will do what I can in the Essex.
It's a million
space.
over the 99 days.
Yeah.
And you don't have to physically turn up because you might be at work. You can log it for your city.
Yeah.
Just like lowering the bar here for
myself.
myself.
So how is that?
Also,
like,
I've actually got a really
per city or something.
mental question. Yeah, it would be. My friend worked out the other day. Like, I'd literally need to have like 10,000 people a city.
Okay. Yeah.
No, in more.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
This is a really weird question.
We'll see what happens.
When you started, this is so
oh God.
dumb.
What are you going to ask me here?
This is a stupid me question. Did you have the ick like on the first step, or like did you kind of go like, this might be me, 3, 2, 1?
No. I everyone made me do a speech.
Okay.
So we had a big crowd in Battersea Park.
Yeah.
And there was like a bench, and everyone was like, "You need to do a speech. You need to say something."
Right.
And I remember getting up there completely unprepared. You might be better at public speaking than me and all this.
Well, I will, because I've interviewed you.
You have to do a lot of.
Yeah, and I'm interviewing you. I'm getting all the tips.
Yeah. And it did actually kind of relax me, because I was like, "What am I going to do to like 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, I know.
We're off."
And
you're going to have to do this quite a lot.
I keep having weird nightmares about it. Like,
yeah, maybe
no,
you
only
should
day one, only Inverness, only the. Like, right, this is what it is. Like, I'm like going to get in the car, travel to Inverness, and then I think I'm going to stay there for a couple of days before. Like, just waiting.
Just plan
and then I'm obviously going to go to the start point and then turn up, and then do I just go,
Yeah, I think say a few words. The thing is, as soon as my speech finished, I just started my watch and started
And
running.
started
And
running.
everyone was like, "What's going on?" I was
But
like, "We're off.
also, as
I've done my
well,
bit now."
When you started running, did you have a moment, or am I being drama? Did you have a moment when you were like, "This is me now for the next 76 days"? Like, did you have that feeling where you go, "All right," like, because I feel like I'm going to set off, and the minute I go boom, I'm just going to go.
No,
is me.
you'll love it. At the
Are you just
start,
so in the
and
moment?
you're in the moment, and yeah, you'll get to like day 20 or something.
Before
and you'll
you
be
then
like,
go, oh.
bloody hell, am I doing
Yeah,
this?
okay,
Like,
this
yeah.
is perfect. So chapter 1, we're
So-
going to day 20. So you would say from day 1 to 20, you were just very much like in it, like.
In it, like in my head,
Yes.
like I was like, it was fresh. I was excited. There was no.
Do you get adrenaline
no
and
issues
excitement?
getting up in the morning. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the beginning. It's fresh. I'm doing my challenge. I've been wanting this for a long time, which wore off. Like, and we'll
And
get
also,
to
like,
that.
when you were going to, like, bed at night near the beginning, like, was you just so excited? Like, after day 1, you must have been in bed buzzing to go again because, like you said, all these people turned up. And look, let's face it, we're human. Like, if, like, you have a birthday party and everyone's like, happy birthday and really nice to you, you just feel buzzed, don't you?
Yeah, it was every day you have a lot of adrenaline.
Okay.
You're obviously really stimulated because
So
the
you have
amount
to
of
be
people that
careful
are
with your heart
supporting
rate.
you in person and online, and like I did
Yeah.
pretty much everything on my own during my challenge. So like I would do the run during the day. I quite often have people running with me, and then in the afternoon I would do stuff on socials.
That's what I'm
And
gonna
actually
do.
I'd be really doing my best to like whoever was supporting try and reply
Message
or just
them.
acknowledge
Yeah.
it or in any way. And you know, as the challenge went on, it got more and more exposure, and actually it got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore because it was actually quite overbearing.
And then you start feeling bad.
And then you
there's
start
another
feeling
thing
bad.
to add.
So yeah, I think I got to like day 40 or 50, and one of my friends took over my inbox on Instagram
Yeah.
and would handle replies and make
I
sure
think
things
people
were picked
get it
up.
though, don't they? They're
Definitely.
like,
I don't think anyone expects to hear from you, but as a
And if-
person, I loved
That's
the
what I'm
fact that
like.
it was like my thing and people had so much interest in it. I was like, well, I want to thank them. And
yes.
so you do have a lot of that, and it was more than I ever imagined keeping
Mm.
up with it all and the stimulation. But I would every day make sure I put my phone down like 9 so that I was
Yeah.
like asleep by 10.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it. Go on.
No, I was going to say, so chapter 1 sounds very much like, because it was the start and the momentum, it was full of quite a lot of excitement. Mentally, you felt fresh and prepared, and you were in a great position to chat to people on your phone and whatever. And then chapter 2.
Well, hold on. Before we get out of chapter 1,
Yeah.
the other thing I would say is because of all the multi-day ultras that I'd done and the amount of running that I'd done, I thought I would adapt quite quickly into the
Okay.
challenge. Like, I thought after 4 or 5 days of running
You're
50k, I'd be like, my body will be fully adapted.
That's what I
and
was
fine.
thinking.
I'd say it took till day 20, 21, 3 weeks for me to like properly feel comfortable running 50k
And
every
what
day.
was that feeling?
So
Did something just...
bad sleep. I had bad
Yeah.
sleep for the first 2 or 3 weeks. Like, I don't always pay a huge amount of attention to data, but I was looking at like my heart rate variability, my sleep quality and stuff like that, and it was very low.
And was you just not prioritising it as much because you just felt quite good and you were in it and it was exciting?
No, I was fully prioritising it. I was
And it still
trying
wasn't
to
working.
get really good sleep.
And how many hours are we talking?
Like I try and get 8 to 9 hours, like on a daily basis, and in the challenge,
Including
and
naps?
I did eventually get there. No, I don't sleep during the day.
See, I do.
No, and that's probably a great thing, but I'm
Okay.
just not a napper. And also during the challenge, I never found time for naps. Like I didn't feel like I had it in me. But you might be different. I don't nap usually anyway.
I can
try
do
and
an hour
get-
nap in the afternoon like that. I
Really?
I could go sleep, not now like this, but as in saying you're boring.
I'm a good.
I'm saying I could, say you weren't
Don't fall
here.
asleep whilst we're on this.
Yeah, I'm saying if you weren't here and I put my head down, I could go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm quite lucky.
Yeah, I am a pretty good sleeper actually, and like
Yeah.
public transport, I can sleep and things, but I don't tend to nap during the day, and I didn't really during the challenge. I'd get 8 or 9 hours at night.
And that's not enough.
No, that is enough.
Okay.
But during the first 2 or 3 weeks,
Yes.
I was getting maybe 6 to 8, but like it was really poor quality. I was waking up a lot in the night because I was eating and drinking so much. I'd need the toilet, and that would wake me up,
That's
and
my
it'd be
problem as
annoying.
well. God, I've got so many questions.
And it was just really disrupted
Yeah.
sleep. And actually that was like my bit, like sleep is the biggest thing that aids recovery. So like that was one of the things going into the challenge. I was like, as long as you sleep well, you know, everything else should be okay. But as soon as you're just sort of having poor sleep, that will have a massive impact on you, because that's when you recover the best or the most.
Yes.
So yeah, the first 2 or 3 weeks was really poor sleep.
Yeah.
I had injuries that I'd never had before. I'm not like I never really get injuries from running. I've only had sprained ankles and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Touch wood. But like my right foot flared up on like day 4, and like it was swollen
Do
to
you
the
think
point.
it's the stress of it?
Yeah, I
Because
think
you're
it
putting
was.
so much pressure on yourself, it then starts. I don't know.
Yeah, when you do intense and extreme things, your body and your mind will play tricks on you and almost reject it to start with.
Oh,
And it just
God.
felt like as part
Okay.
of my body rejecting what I was doing,
Okay.
it threw things at me. So the sleep was poor. I had a swollen foot where I'm a size 10 and I was wearing like a size 12 shoe.
And was the physio's like, it's all right, it's just swollen?
My physio was in the desert in Jordan.
Yeah.
And I had to message the organisers of the event to be like, can you get him some Wi-Fi and
Yeah,
get him to
yeah,
phone
yeah.
me? Because my foot gave way one day, so I thought I'd had a bone issue, and obviously bone is stop.
Stress fracture.
Muscle is, you can manage it usually.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm pretty confident it's not a bone, so you can manage it. You're just going to have to slow down. And take some painkillers.
Yes.
Now, my big thing for the challenge was no painkillers
Yes.
unless it's like last resort. Feel your body out. Like,
Okay.
you know if you've got issues. So that was one thing that I definitely advise, like, avoid them at all costs unless you need them.
Yeah.
Because then they make a difference.
Of course.
Whereas, like, some people who had done similar
by
challenges
day
were like,
4.
take ibuprofen every day just to keep the
Yeah.
inflammation down. But I didn't do that, and I don't think it's good to do that.
Nah.
But I did have to load up on ibuprofen and paracetamol whilst I
Okay.
had that issue, and then I slowed the pace down. But I had other issues like my knee and like everything, and I was overcompensating. So bad sleep, injuries, and then I got ill on the
Okay.
third week.
This is the other thing I was thinking about the other day, because I think I got like a little bit of a cold over Christmas, and I was like, oh shit, I could get ill.
Good that you got that cold over Christmas. And
Yeah.
lightning doesn't strike twice.
But do you know what I mean? Like, you then suddenly go, oh shit, life will still happen.
In fact, you've got a while, so actually it's still a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, you're going to be in cities amongst lots of people.
Yeah.
And like, fortunately, you're outside, so it's like low risk. It's not like sitting next to someone having a conversation or being on public transport
Yeah.
in London. But like, if I came to London during the challenge, I would avoid public transport.
So
I'd
do you
drive
just lemsip and carry
because
on?
I'd make sure I wasn't going to get, not
Yeah.
get ill. So that was all part of the planning. But yeah, I got really ill. I knew one night going to bed, I was like, I don't feel good.
Oh,
woke
no,
up sweating. And I couldn't eat anything that morning, and I was just like, "Damn, I'm ill, and this isn't good." And I messaged Chris Taylor, to say I'm not good today. Like, I might break the run up, because I knew, and even this was okay for the world record.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do 50k in one go in the morning.
Yeah.
I could do it morning and then afternoon,
Yeah.
25. But Chris and I had agreed we're going to run 6-minute Ks. 5 hours a day. It's like the optimum pace to like avoid injuries but enough time to recover, in one go every day, because then you get maximum recovery time. So as soon as you stop, you're in recovery and you're not like delaying it. And I texted Chris that day and I said, I'm ill, I think I'm going to break up the run today. And he texts back saying, do it all in one go.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I did not want to hear that. He was like, because at least then you give yourself a chance to get to the next
I was
day.
just thinking that, because otherwise, like, you go into recovery mode, then you've got to go and do another 25, and it's just not long enough. So yeah.
So if in every circumstance, like, I would say, have a fixed structure and routine. Obviously, you're going to have the run clubs, but try and run between the same hours of each day and fit the run club in the middle.
Yeah.
And then have consistent and maximum amount of recovery time.
Yeah.
And even if you get ill or injured,
Still do it.
still try and do it in one go.
Yeah.
To give yourself the. Are you going to do it every single day? The plan is to run.
I'm running every day for 99 days.
Yeah.
So
no less.
my kind of plan in my head, but obviously Chris will tell me, is like, get up, go, get the ultra done, get to the city by lunchtime,
Okay.
eat, sleep. I'll sleep then, wake up, go to the 5k club,
Okay.
come back home, eat dinner, go back to bed again.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going to have like 4 different days in what, do you know what I mean? I've got
Yeah.
to run, and then I like go to bed, then I wake up again and do the 5k, and then I go to bed, then I wake like that. That's my head getting itself around it.
That is an interesting, it is interesting fitting in the 5k,
5K
run
run.
the best, most optimum way. Like, for
Yes.
example, I did a couple of schools, run clubs, like
Yeah.
my primary school. I went and ran with them a few times, and I'd say to them, I finish at 1 p.m. So if we could do the run club at 1 p.m, like as soon as I get to you, if
So
you
you
can have the
don't
kids
have
on the
to
front,
finish
and then
and
like
start
we
again.
can, exactly. Like, I don't want to stop for too long.
Yeah.
And like every time they weren't ready till 1:45, and I was like sitting down, and
Yeah.
and then I'm cold, and then I'm like, well, now if I run, I'm like, that's not really ideal, and
Gets
so
into
the
your head.
logistics of it all, and I'm sure Chris, you
Yeah,
and
my
Chris will
training
work
plan, I've
together
got a
on
lot of
this.
double days.
Yeah, okay.
I'm doing a lot of double days for my training plan, so I run in the morning, run in the evening, because obviously of that, and then it will probably increase and stay like that.
Yeah, okay. So the plan is that you'll do your run, get to where you need to get to, stop, and then meet everyone
Start
for
recovery,
the 5k at a specific fixed time. And it
Always
won't
say
be
at 6
blended in.
PM.
It won't be blended into the ultra.
No.
No, okay. Fair enough.
Unless something happens where I've left that city late that day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, I cannot leave this morning. I'll leave at lunch and get there for the 5k.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, and then what were your learnings, chapter 2, like 20 to 40?
Well, yeah, so when I started, I was in September as well. So the weather was nice, the start of the challenge, and then you get to sort of day 20 to 40. And the best part about that phase was like I fully adapted.
Yes.
So like physically, I'd wake up and I'd feel strong enough every day to do the run. And that was a nice place to get to.
Yeah.
I thought it would happen earlier. And to like get to a point where you're feeling fine physically is like,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to come a lot earlier, and I was actually starting to enjoy the running a lot more. That is though when I started moving into winter and started having to deal with like the change in the weather, and I just sort of was settling into it with still like quite a long way to go. So that's when I started to find a dip in motivation. But like I was trying to find ways around that. Like I did make my challenge an open invite, and like by that point the challenge was getting more and more exposure, and people were coming from around the country to run with me. I would say though, like, and this is probably something that you're going to have to think about and manage. Like, one of the best things I did was asking people to come and run with me and making it an open invite. But it meant that like I was constantly running with people
and talking
and repeating yourself. You know, you talk about a lot about the same thing. And I did find and appreciate in that time that I was doing it in Frinton-on-Sea, and that there were days where it would just be me.
Yes.
And I did find those days really important. Like I absolutely love people, and I love, like, I would love to do your challenge. It's right up my street. Every reason behind it is great. The people like going around the country, lots of running. It's just perfect. But I think you're gonna find days really important when it's just you and like the 50Ks. Obviously, so you're gonna be in each city. Lots of people will be running with you. Brilliant. Lots of excitement. When you're running between, are you running on your own? Are you planning on doing a lot of that on your own, or will you sort of get friends and family to join you on those bits as well?
The plan is to do it on my own, but people want to. So people are reaching out to me, a lot of friends and family, and people are like, can we join you for this part? Can we join you for different parts? And I'm like, yeah, like for example, one of my close friends, it's her 30th birthday. She wants to run from one city to another. I think we arrive in Belfast. I can't think where we're running from off the top of my head. She wants to do that, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, that's such a cool thing to do for your birthday. So I think moments like that, I'm happy to do it. But you're right, like there are things where I give a lot of energy. Like I love giving energy as well. I love talking to people, helping people. And when I was doing my training run last month, my 50K community loops that I do around Victoria Park, and people can come join for a loop, people started with me at 9, and I gave so much energy for the first hour. How are you? How was your Christmas? What have you been up to? And I keep it going. When I started this month's one, my community loops, no one came till 10, and I had an hour on my own. The difference was absolutely mad. My energy levels were fine. Like, I think I need that kind of time to settle into my pace and my headspace and check in with myself. How are you feeling today? And I think that was already a learning curve for me just from a training run, which is why we train, right? We learn things. I think I'm going to have to work out a schedule where there are blocked things where it's, and it might be loose because that day I might be in such a fine headspace. Come join me. Cut-offs and saying, if you're joining Esmée today, you can join from here. Let her have the first hour. And maybe the night before I say, look, tomorrow I need space or whatever. Because one of my worries is, and this is a random worry, what if someone like that I just don't know just runs the whole thing with me? Like people are like,
no, yeah, I had people that,
like, some people don't have like, just, I don't know, they're like tunnel vision and they think it's really normal, but then I'm like, I don't want someone to just turn up that I've never met and then suddenly they're with me every single day and we're not talking. I don't know, like,
you have to expect that naivety, and you definitely have to plan for it,
because I need space.
You're really, it's going to be really important that you do have time just to run on your own.
Yes.
And not have to be chatting with
to
people.
recharge my battery, right?
And 99%
that's how I charge my battery.
Yeah. And
running.
99% of people that come and join you will give you so much energy, and like you're going to love it. But there will be, and I had it as well, people that come, they actually don't have the right intentions. They want to just get a photo with you, or some of them were asking me to promote things for them. Like, and be like, oh, can you put this t-shirt on? And like, and I was just like, this isn't genuine. Like, you haven't come to run with me. And everyone, 99% of people did. They just came and they're like, what you're doing is amazing. Like, we just want to be part of it. Some of them would even be like, do you mind if I run with you? And it's just like 100%.
But there always is that one.
There's always that one person. You have to plan for that, and like, and you know, they've still made the effort to come. So it's not like you can just be like, well, it depends what sort of mood you're in, and like, because you know, you have highs and lows, and but there's no reason why you can't tell people like, please, can you just give me some time?
And I love the thought of people coming.
Yourself ultimately.
Absolutely.
But I did find, that actually, as I was getting through the challenge into the winter months, generally, like, that was one of the things that I did enjoy, having company and like.
I think there'll be
people.
times where it's worth it and you need it, and I think that's another thing I'm definitely going to take away from this is just maybe putting some boundaries, like freedom within a framework. This is Esme's plan, but it might change. She might chuck something on a story that day, go no, everyone's welcome, or please today Esme space. Don't forget as well, I'm a woman, right? So I'm going to have a cycle. I'm going to come on my period 3 times during this and go through a full cycle. With women's cycles and our hormones, we feel different every day. Whereas for men, it's more linear. Obviously, you feel different every day for other reasons, but in terms of hormonally, you don't feel the kind of full thing that we go through. Part of my cycle is I go quiet. I do have a period of like a few days always the same part of my cycle where I'm very inward. I'm very like I don't want people around me. I also go through a phase where I feel agitated easily. Like someone breathes. I'm like, why are you breathing? That's really weird that you're breathing. So I've got to consider actually my moods as well around my hormones.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo anything, and you want to plan for that massively. You do need to protect yourself. Because I was doing 50k a day on a very similar route, people could join me at any point.
Yes.
And I was pleased at times that I was in Frinton, which is in the middle of nowhere, and I knew I would have times by myself. For you, it feels like the run club will always be a public event.
That's what I want.
The in-between,
everyone come for that. Yeah.
The in-between you can control slightly.
Yeah.
And I would definitely just make sure that you protect yourself when needed and give yourself time to run on your own.
Yeah.
Like it's very healthy, and you'll want it and need it because your energy levels will be low. And also, I think I got to, in that sort of second phase, I think at the start I tried to do everything perfectly.
Yes.
I had a nutrition plan from my friend Abby, who's a nutritionist. I was sort of trying to stick to that, get my 5,500 calories in every day. And I was trying to execute everything perfectly and do everything perfectly. And I was also so in the challenge, I wasn't really doing anything outside of it. And from that, in that second phase, sort of 20 to 40, I did start to sort of do other things and deviate slightly from the perfect plan.
Yeah.
And like, rather than eating absolutely all the perfect foods I need to eat, I started like allowing myself just like pizzas and some
was you
chocolate
okay with
and
that?
pick and mix, and I was completely fine with it.
Fine.
But like, I got to a point where I was almost eating so much that I didn't enjoy eating food, and I love food.
Yeah.
And I want to, the fact that you get to run so much, one of the best parts about that is you can eat like, more and things like that, and you can treat yourself. And I think that actually in that second phase, I did change my diet up quite a bit, and I sort of stopped. Yeah, I relaxed, and actually I just allowed a bit more normality back into my life that was actually really healthy.
Yeah.
Like friends would be like, we're going to the pub on Friday, and up until that point I was like, I'm not going to the pub, like, you can come to the house, but I'm drinking alcohol-free Guinness. And actually I started going to the pub and just like doing some normal things.
Yes.
Because you can, like, what you're doing is so intense that you can get unhealthily caught up in it.
Yeah, and it's got to be fun, right?
And it should be right. Should be fun, and there shouldn't, like, nothing in life should be all consuming
and rigid.
And rigid. So I like started then going to the pub, and actually I'd have a normal Guinness and like drink a bit of alcohol, and like, I don't drink that often, but like, I also don't have a unhealthy relationship with alcohol, and I don't mind a drink from time to time. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to do this because that's kind of what I want to do today, rather than what I should do. Just did what I felt was right. And actually, that was a really good time for that to happen, because I was being too strict on myself, and I was being consumed by it all. So it was quite a healthy phase, actually, that one, because I was adapted in physically, my sleep was better, and I started living a slightly more normal
freedom
life.
Within a framework.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
So that first 20 days, was very rigid, lots of different issues.
Yeah.
The next 20 was the sort of like getting into it a bit, feeling it a little bit, and working out the right way to do it rather than the perfect way.
Yeah. And then, like, chapter 3 really should have been the end, right? It should have been coming to the end of your challenge, right? But you obviously went on even further. How did it feel coming to the end? And at what point did you go, I'm nearly finished? When did it set in? And how did that feel, that moment?
So, yeah, it was, I remember actually the first sort of 2 weeks taking a lifetime. I like day 14, and then all of a sudden I was at halfway.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I was at the end. Like, the first 10-20% of the challenge was so slow, and it felt like time just had stopped, and then boom, all of a sudden it just like disappeared. And I suppose that sort of phase, around halfway, it was all just happening so fast and so quickly. There was a big moment in the challenge for me where I'd got to that point, done the 48 ultras in 40 days. I was so happy with how it was going, but my fundraising was like not where it should be, or not where I'd hoped it would be by that point. I think I'd raised about £15,000 out of the 74. And on like day 41, I put out like a call for help video on Instagram that was like, I'm doing all these ultra marathons, haven't really had any exposure or spoken to any news outlets or like podcasts or anything like that to get the word out about what I was doing. And I put out a video and it went completely viral.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like my fundraising jumped to like £45,000.
Wow.
And it was a bit of a game changer because I was worried about day 40. I was like, the challenge might not get the exposure that I thought it would get, and that the fundraising for Headway, which was £74,000 I was hoping for, would fall short. So I had a bit of worry around that time, and I'd so settled into the challenge and been running for so long that I needed a boost in motivation.
Yeah.
I needed something, and I knew I was going to do it because I was doing one for my mum's each year.
Yeah.
So like there was a big enough why, but there was definitely around that time when you're so in it and you've been doing it for so long that I needed a little boost.
And that worked.
And that really did work. And like to see the fundraising go up and to get like the exposure, like all of a sudden chatting to like people on really cool podcasts, and I was finally getting like into the news and stuff, and I love that. And it put this whole new layer of excitement onto the challenge and sort of gave me that boost up into the final phase, going into like the final week and the 80th day. But then again, as much as like I wanted it, you got to be careful what you wish for and be careful how much you commit to, because all of a sudden everyone wanted to speak to me,
and then you were busy.
You're going to have lots of media interest in things in what you're doing, I hope, and I'm sure you will, because that's what you're going to get you the million people. But that will come with its own challenges because you're busy with it, and like speaking to people all the time.
It means so much to you.
It's such good opportunities, and like one day it'll all be over and you'll be back at home and it won't be the same, and like you'll miss it. But yeah, that took its toll as well, and I had to get a friend to help me organise any interviews or podcasts that I was doing, and we sort of had a fixed system where we knew each day I'd be running at this point, I'd be doing content at this point, and then I'd be going to see my mum at this point. So there was like another window. It was like an hour or two. It was like, okay, well, I could speak to 2 people a day in those slots.
Yeah, which is why it probably went so quick, because you were then so busy.
And then so like the days were just like ticking by. But it was sort of the boost that I needed. It was great that happened, and because in the end, like we'll get to it, on the final day I hit my fundraising target, and if it wasn't for like that video and that bit of spike in the middle, would never have got there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but also we were getting into winter at that point, and the days were getting colder and wetter and Frinton on the seafront, like, so yeah, I was sort of very grateful that I had that boost of sort of like public interest and fundraising, because it was starting to get really difficult being out there every day.
Chapter 3 was a busy month, but also probably the hardest of the runs in terms of
the weather. It was a lot, exactly. They're all very different. I hadn't actually thought through the challenge in the way that we're breaking it up, but all of the phases were very different
and make sense, like, and
logical.
Yes, they really do,
definitely.
And then obviously chapter 4 is the end. And then I want to know about the end and post-challenge, really. Mm-hmm. Like, what was that feeling when you did end on day 80? You changed the end date, so you knew this was the actual end. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So day 74 was meant to be the final day. That was one for every year of Mum's life. That was the Tuesday. That was quite an emotional day.
Yes.
Because that's what the project was. Like, that was running, and that was what I was always worried about. I was like, I don't want to, like, not let my mum down, but, like, this is always about running 74 in a row. So finishing that day and achieving the Project 74 goal was, I was quite emotional that day, but it was really good emotions. And my mum was down there to watch me. So I absolutely loved that. And then that was only a small group of my friends that came down for that day. And then I moved the actual official final day to the Sunday. So day 79. And considering it was mid-December, I didn't know, what sort of weather I was going to get, or whether we could even make the finish line a public thing, because if it was pissing it down then. But yeah, that day was like the most beautiful sunny day. We finished outside my mum's church, where she goes every Sunday, and like she's still quite unwell and has lots of physical needs. She doesn't leave her care home too often, so it made sense to go to where she goes every Sunday for the finish. And the whole town turned out, and it was just like the best day of my life. It was so amazing. But yeah, so that was day 79. But because I was on sort of £67,000 I'd raised at that point, I knew that was the final day publicly in the big celebration, but actually I wasn't going to stop running until I'd raised the full amount.
Yes.
I sort of always knew in the back of my mind that if I didn't raise 74 grand, I'd just keep going until I did. But I hadn't told anyone that.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed on the evening of day 79, and I hadn't hit my fundraising goal. When I woke up in the morning, I had like 3 missed calls from one of my friends being like, "You've hit your fundraising goal. Like, you don't need to run today."
To go out.
And like, you know, the whole project, it was quite turbulent with all the injuries and then the weather turning and just like the exposure coming really quite late. Like there was a lot that went on within it that made it like it wasn't a smooth ride in any sense or form. And then to like hit my fundraising goal on the final day was
You couldn't write that.
so perfect.
Yeah.
But because I'd already packed put my clothes out for the next day, I was sort of ready to run. And when I woke up, I was like, I feel like I should run. I then went and did like a victory lap, I suppose.
Yeah.
No one was with me. I was at home on my own.
What, as in the full distance as well?
Full distance, yeah. I was like, I'm just going to do this day 80.
Yeah.
And like, and really soak it up and just enjoy what's just happened.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I got up and went and did the 50k run. And like, I had some tears on that run. I felt so emotional.
Yeah.
And I felt so satisfied. And actually, that has made everything since so much easier.
Yes.
Because of how well it eventually went, and to finish on a sunny day with my mum there, who I didn't think was going to survive like 9 months before, the best day of my life, and then to hit the fundraising goal, it did just mean that everything since has been okay. Like there's no stone unturned. I'm completely satisfied by how it went. And it was also good that I finished when I did. I finished in mid-December. And I went on holiday the next day for a week with 2 of my really closest friends. I hadn't planned that until I'd finished the challenge. I said, I'm not going to organise anything until it's done because who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we did a little holiday to celebrate, and then I had Christmas with my family. And, you know, the challenge finished really well. I had a little holiday with my friends, and then we had Christmas. And that sort of made it all actually completely fine and perfect. And then we start the new year, clean slate. I've got all these things that I want to do with my life now in the running space, that like I'm really happy. Like it's just been a brilliant time of life. And mum's in all through it all been getting better and stuff like that, so it has been a happy time. But that said, like if I hadn't hit my fundraising goal on the last day, I might still be running now. I might have had to stop just because I was never going to do it. The weather could have been awful on the last day. It could have been mid-February when I finished, and like there's not really anything going on, and I don't really know how I would have handled that if it hadn't, you know, because coming out of challenges that are this big and that intense, it's you know, you need to sort of have a plan for afterwards. And although I did, and that I wanted to get into running coaching, help people do events like this, do some community work and work in schools, I'd always had that plan for afterwards, and I think it is good to have something in mind and not just to do this challenge and then finish and then like, well, where do I go? Yeah. And thankfully it's all worked out really well. And I've also just now really started to have a chance to sort of look back on it, and I just look back on it like so fondly. It's just great.
Best thing you've ever done?
Best thing I've ever done. Yeah, I'm like, you know, best thing I might ever do. You know, you just don't know. I'd love to do some more projects, and like Headway, the charity I fundraise for, mean a lot to me, and they've been so incredible to me.
Yes.
I would love to, like, in my lifetime, do more challenges and hopefully raise £1 million for them through challenges or whatever, community type stuff like you do. So yeah, plenty going on, plenty to look forward to, but yeah, definitely very happy with how it all went in the end. And
I mean, I've learned so much from all of that. So thank you for, you know, just being so honest and, you know, going into depth. There was things in there that I was like, oh my God, I hadn't considered that, which are going to be so important. And also one of the things I absolutely love about what you're saying and how that this has kind of come to a close is, you know, you really do break down the stereotype of what we see quite a lot with men more, of these kind of like, you know, big beastly men going out there doing these crazy challenges. It's kind of like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like I could never do that and things like that. It's just the way that you kind of finish it by going, you're not going to sit here and go, and now I'm going to go conquer America kind of thing. Yeah. You are like, I want to get into community work. I want to keep working for the charity. And I think that really breaks down the stereotype of what has been put out there, which I don't love. But yeah, we've got to wrap it up. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. We do have to finish because it's time. But one thing I ask really quickly at the end always is, who would be your absolute dream person to be crew support?
Oh my God.
Anyone in the world, alive or dead?
Yeah, to be fair, my first proper running inspiration was Nick Butter. Yeah. He had a corporate job. He quit it all to go and run a marathon in every country. He was the first person that inspired me to get into running and long distance running. And I love his ethos and outlook on life. And he's a great person too. So Nick Butter, possibly. My favourite sportsman ever was Andy Murray. I'm a big fan of Andy Murray.
Get him on the crew.
If he wanted to crew me, that would be absolutely fine.
Love it.
If my mum was fit and well,
nice.
I'd always spend time with my mum.
What a combo.
There's quite a few people there. The three of them would be the perfect.
That's a solid combo. I'm into that. Thank you so much. Where do we follow you?
Instagram. Yeah,
Instagram.
If you search for Sam King, you should find me, or Fatboy Sking.
Yeah.
Sking was my nickname as a kid, and
nice.
I obviously used to be overweight, so
there we go.
Slightly catchy.
Please do follow him. You can go and see everything he's already done if you don't already know. Thank you so much for everything, for all your hints and tips. They've been so valuable. And I'll see you next time.
Pleasure. Thank you.